necessarily known for its creativity in Yoshi, but every time I watch this guy play, I feel like I see something new with this character I've never seen before. I see new crazy routes. I see new coverage options. They're not the kill confirms you see from the New Jersey Yoshis like Pharaoh, like Raptor, but instead we just see very creative neutral. We see very creative pressure scenarios, and Myles always finds a way to close the stock out.
I've seen so much Yoshi in my time. Mitchell, I've seen too much Yoshi in my time.
You're from Long Island. Suarez has been doing this since we were children.
Like, there's just so much. But I do have to agree, Myles, one of the most well-studied of the character, and very inventive, but also at the same time just very aware of how good the simplicities of some of his tools are. He's able to scrap, and he doesn't have to worry about much, especially in the realms of fighting a character like Roy, who's going to want to swing at you all the time. You get the get-out-of-jail-free card of the double jump armor. But you can't abuse that, otherwise you've got Juice waiting for you to land, and he's just going to pulverize you.
And I'm glad you brought Juice up, right? Because we were talking a lot about Myles, right, being a new kid on the block, but being very well studied. Juice kind of been away from the game for a minute, but is one of, if I remember correctly, the old guard here of this tri-state scene, been around for a minute, and people were very surprised, but also excited to see him come out, see what he could make happen, and here with potentially the first stock, no, not quite, fighting for a winner side spot in top 32. I mean, he came to play.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if he won this. Like, of course, New York bias. But when you talk about some of the most powerful players that Philly has produced, Juice is at the top of that list. Yeah. Like, people don't remember, people don't know, but he used to truly be one of the ones to just invade, be in your top 8, and you deal with it. Whether you're New York or you're New Jersey, or if we got something going on the East Coast, he's there to defend.
And one of the awkward parts of this matchup, right, Yoshi not always with the best range, so Swords can do a great job of disrupting him, but between his double jump armor and Roy's sour spot, Yoshi in this matchup doesn't really mind contesting that mid-range with the sword play all that much. He might have to be creative to find the hit once he's in there, but he just makes you explode. Myles, though, somehow just not able to close the stock out. We're used to talking about Roy's offense, but Juice's defense is really what's impressing me so far.
Yeah, he's going for a solid whiff punish game where he's just diving in, catching landings with Myles, get a few hits in, dive out. Playing at max distance when it comes to the destroying of Roy is not very intuitive when you consider that a lot of his kit is based around you just close quarters brawling with someone.
Also, so what is Juice's relation to the name Myles? Because I see it as his in-game tag, and it's spelled differently, but I have to wonder if it's a call-out.
I forget. It's not a call-out, but I do remember there is a legitimate reason for it.
Although, speaking of degenerate, sour spot up till into up air. Finally, Myles got it.
He's playing with a Roy that I ain't seen for a long time.
But Roy at 207% when he finally lost that first stock. Absolutely insane. And what's insane to me, too, is we're talking about, like, this is maybe the slowest Roy I've seen in a hot minute, which is insane because he's still playing really, really fast. But he's just playing the patience game and forcing Myles to out-frame data him, pick those preemptive buttons, and as you talked about before, right, just playing that reactive with punish game plan, willing to reset the situation because he's just betting on out-funding his opponent.
When you consider how proactive Yoshi is as a character, like a lot of the onus is on Myles to initiate, and he has the speed, he has the power to certainly get something started of his own volition. But with the way that Juice is playing, you have to constantly make Myles pay the price for jumping. Juice gonna handedly take game 1 because you're punishing Yoshi for one of his most core aspects. Yoshi lives in the air. He's supposed to be there.
And honestly, Juice, right, you were talking about how the onus is on Yoshi often to initiate. So too with Roy, right? We're used to seeing Roy as aggressive speed demon. Players like Mugen, Cola, right, locally now out of the tournament, Carflow. Oh, we have these players who are high octane, pedal to the metal, and are going to rush you down, but as you mentioned, right, Juice is using that movement to instead bait out the double jumps, punish the landings, and just not let Myles keep those fluttery feet on the ground.
Yeah, no, bro's chilling. He looks like one of the most comfy people in this venue right now.
This is insane.
Like, he is snug as a bug the way that he's playing, the way that you could see it in the player camera. Like, dude's just happy to be here.
I mean, honestly, that's one of the best things about seeing players come out of retirement, come out of extended breaks is it's not necessarily that their fundies have gone away, but they often don't have the same, you know, expectation of doing well that someone who's actively been competing is for. And so however they do, they're happy with it. They're just playing to have fun, and often you see them cook. But right now, Myles cooking, cleaned up his first stock from last game and managing to take the first one this time around.
Yeah,
Trying to force
he
us to
remember
another
he's got
game
combos.
Yeah.
All throughout game one, we saw a lot of hit confirms from Myles, but they didn't amount to much, whether it's because Juice wasn't positioned in a way that properly allowed for the combo, or he was just DIing extremely well, and because of the sour spots, like, you just live forever against Yoshi. However, once Myles actually gets his combos in, look at how the damage racks up, the stage control that Myles is commanding, and how it just gets ripped away.
And very interesting there from Myles, right? Finishing triple up air into neutral air. He was actually talking to me about that, how most Yoshis will go for the fourth up air, but he likes neutral air for stage positioning. Instead, though, right, Juice being a fast faller, that neutral air allowed him to get underneath Myles, fall down faster than him, and find a juggle for it. So now Myles, fighting from an even stock scenario, and even with a percent advantage, you have to be scared, because we've seen Roy, we've seen even Juice make these percent differences vanish in an instant.
I don't know about an instant, but it's definitely going to happen. It's like a set certainty with the way that he's playing. It's like, yeah, he's going to find his damage. Like, the stock may not get deleted so quickly. But, hey, Myles could turn my words around.
Yeah, I was going to say, man.
For it. All right.
I think Myles might be able to hear us, because you really said it might not happen this instant, and Myles was like, well, Juice might not be taking the stock, but I certainly will. However, speaking of an instant, and just like that, too, he already did take that 102, brought it all the way back to even, and Juice is quickly closing this percent gap, but Yoshi deals damage like it's nobody's business. You might think forward tilt, up air, up air, up air, up air is a really simple combo, but actually it also deals 80.
Yeah, no, it's Yoshi packs damage, and he has the movement to be able to do so safely. Although, Juice, very aware of that, has not given Myles a lot of respect when it comes to where he's positioning himself. He's ready to just dive in. We've seen so many, like, short, just approaching nairs, and because Myles is already committing to moving somewhere so he can position for his next big combo, he's just eating damage for existing. So we're seeing a lot more of the jumping just to escape situations where it could get really hairy really quickly.
And I really like that you mentioned he's not respecting Myles, because Myles gets a lot of mileage, especially as a player, by forcing you to respect his double jump armor and then not using it so he still has it later, able to force the game 3, but Juice just saying, I don't care, I'm gonna force this out, often puts Myles in a bad situation where he's making you think that he's gonna use double jump armor, but actually doesn't want to, and so when you call him on that bluff, his whole defense crumbles. Juice, fantastic job doing that in both games, but unfortunately, Myles just edging him out slightly, and man, this is the block of game 3s, and I am all here for it, because more game 3s means some more good Smash Brothers gameplay.
Listen, it's like I always say, anytime I'm on the mic, anytime I'm at a tournament, people know I want the game 3. I want the final round. I want that bracket reset. I want to see these people fight to the end.
I want all my blocks to be an extra hour, because
that
everything
also happens.
Because everything went game 3, game 5, bracket reset. I want to be here till 2 in the morning, cheering my heart out for some good Smash Bros. Action. And what better place to finish off a set as good as this than on small battlefield? Small, close quarters, nice and personal, with some nice good old dual plats to catch those landings, as both players have been prone to do today. Oh no.
No, he's good, he's good. The real secret is that no Yoshi has ever inputted that as a misinput. It's always been tactical.
Some games have tactical crouching. Yoshi has tactical egging. Fantastic.
Just orbital egg drop. He's chilling.
Oh no!
And honestly, given the stage pick,
you can't say he's chilling, because then he's on fire.
He's chilling 6 feet under after that one. I was actually just about to highlight before we got the zaniness at the end of those stocks. I'm very concerned about the small battlefield pick, because this is an excellent stage for the game plan that Juice has been attempting to run in games 1 and 2, and that is causing a juggle state on Yoshi. A very tall order, but one he's been forcing out bit by bit.
However, he's done so on larger stages and has used Roy's speed, normally a tool of aggression, defensively, right? Dashing outside of Yoshi's burst range, utilizing that it's not Yoshi's air speed that's excellent, but it's his air acceleration, it's his ability to change directions that's so good. And so he's using that ground speed to stay away from you, force you to commit, and then catch your landings. On a smaller stage like Small Battlefield, he can't do that. He can't get away from you. And Myles excels in scrap scenarios, but he's betting on Juice having to fight him more, and betting on himself being able to do things like just like this, where Juice is scrambling and Myles is the one catching him out.
like a lot of the concern that I have is for how Juice is going to opt to fight out of center stage, which is a situation we're watching right now. There's a lot of safety in the moves that Roy has when it comes to poking at those platforms, where yes, he might not be able to get anything meaningful, but it's that damage that secures situations like these, where the forward tilt from not even at the ledge, just kind of sort of on the left side of the stage, blows up Yoshi.
And Myles has done such a good job maintaining platform control that entire time, misjudges his landing drift once with the landing aerial, putting him in some additional end lag, and suddenly Juice calls him out, but
snipe from the egg!
Are you serious right now? That looked like we're watching melee, we're watching some AMSA action, but right now, Juice answering right back with a quick 60 and a juggle. However, Yoshi down air just gonna misjudge on the landing hitbox and allow Myles to get out of dodge, get some damage going, but that's not going to matter if you can't find a way to get those feet on the ground.
No, and speaking of, and I'm glad you said that, the way that Juice is committed to keeping his boots firmly planted on that base platform, he does not want to commit to a jump. He does not want to give Myles the opportunity to contest him in the air. He doesn't want to give any further opportunity to build up this percentage, where we're getting to the point where Yoshi's looking like he's ready to just blow up.
And Myles also just getting that hit because he used F-tilt and Z-axis there too was absolutely insane. Now we're in an evens game, last stock scenario. Hangman, it is coming down to the wire. The egg lay trying to get the read with the Kapring Hut, the ground pound, getting the drag down, but just missing it slightly. That was a kill confirm that Myles just threw out the window. And Hangman, the full-on scramble situations are starting to favor Juice. They were Myles the whole game,
You can cut the tension thick with a knife.
Oh no!
But Juice will do it with a sword. Down to the last hit. It's a 2-1 win, and yet another upset.
Yeah, man, that was absolutely brutal. This is the block of game 3. This is the block upsets. This is the block that you are happy you tuned in for.
There is blood in the air, and it's still only pools.
Bro, you watch a tournament like this, you even look at the roster, you look at the seeding, you're like, wow, this tournament's stacked, but I think I know who's gonna make it just a little further. And if you were playing bracket fantasy with this here regional, I'm pretty sure we don't have any brackets left intact after those last couple sets. Because Hangman, I mean, players like Juice, players like Smurf Poster, they're hanging those fantasy brackets out to dry.
If you've been a long-time watcher of tri-state tournaments, or even just in general the Northeast, you could have been around for years. You'd still maybe ask yourself, who's Juice? If you don't tune into Philly tournaments, if you aren't aware of the history of Pennsylvania when it comes to its piece in tri-state, you'd be asking yourself a very loaded question. Because Juice came to remind the new kids that he is very much around, and he's very much still excellent at this game.
And, you know, you see this all the time, especially in regions like here in Tri-State, like also my home of New England, where players, right, you have the old guard, new guard, very clearly delineated. You still have players active since Brawl around, kicking it out, but you also have players who are in the new guard, are fighting, clawing for their spot. And so far, we've seen today, right, the old guard players that have shown up in force, they've shown out, and are reminding the new kids on the block that, hey, you guys are really good, you're getting there, but it's not your turn yet. I gotta show you what my old man hands can do.
You certainly did that, and we've got plenty of more ahead of us for the rest of Wave B, but we will be cutting to a short commercial break, so make sure to stay tuned in for the rest of the pools of Alpha 6.